actually see the game. Anyway, to catch us up to the story in the meantime, so our heroine is Julia, who is a cutting-edge journalist living in New York City, and she was about to break a huge story. We only kind of get bits and pieces of it as we go along. We do eventually get, like, you know, the whole picture. But yeah, it's entirely possible that the clan that converted her / the Camarilla was behind this whole mess. So we're going to see what happens to her next after her conversion. So we left off, I think, as her second or third night as a neonate, which is the term for a fairly new vampire. March 2020. Back at it again at Big Beat Burger. Familiar sounds, familiar smells, familiar faces. Yet again, I'm recalling that night when everything finally seemed to change for the better. I mean, it's not like I wasn't expecting everything to go back to the old, depressing normal. Even in the thick of it, the rational part of me recognized my state as, I fucked it up. But with those highs, there's always the hope it won't end, or maybe that an ego death will finally occur. Be satisfied, you stupid fucking bitch. I command you. Here's all the logical evidence for why you should be satisfied, and here's a detailed explanation of how you should treat the people that care for you. No dice. I always fall back into the same old habits. It's like they were encoded deep in my DNA. The aimlessness, the powerlessness, the spiritual exhaustion. These goddamn fast food trips. This stupid fucking self-loathing, now amplified whenever I drink somebody's blood. Maybe I should just blame it all on the misfortune of my birth. You do this social climbing until you dissociate, and then you are just this untethered, constantly frustrated ball of dumb desires. Except I'm sort of immortal right now, and I need to figure out what to do next. I watched this obscure Asian movie once. Eli Lema Sabachthani, starring Tadanobu Asano, one of the coolest guys in the world. He plays this Merzbow-like figure, a legendary noise musician. There's this mysterious virus spreading around the world, causing despair and mass suicide. A rich CEO's granddaughter gets sick and longs to die, so he spends a fortune searching for the cure. Turns out Asano and his friend, played by this violent onsen geisha guy, are traveling through Japan, searching the corpse-strewn towns and fields for any unique item that can produce beautiful sounds. As it turns out, the avant-garde walls of noise they create are able to heal the infected. The CEO begs the band to help, offering them all the money they want, but for some reason, they refuse. Through a series of flashbacks, concerts, and vignettes, a mystery unfolds. Eventually, we realize that Asano's music is not just a remedy, it's also a cause of the virus. Whenever it connects with people, they get this hunger for more extreme, more novel experiences. And eventually, they hit a wall. Nothing can satisfy them anymore. They lose their will to live. Not even the musicians are spared from this curse. They know the end will come, sooner or later. The girl is saved by a mind-blowing concert, but the tragedy is merely postponed, not averted. The last shot of a Jesus like Asano silently considering his role as savior and destroyer stayed with me. The form of the film is abrasive. Little to no narrative coherence, some weird cartoonish creative choices, the Japanese noise soundtrack, the very freeform and hard to understand weave of themes. But at this point, movies like this are all that truly connect with me. I'm the New York City representative of the La Sombra clan now, also known as the Night Clan. They are masters of shadows who cast distorted reflections and make modern tech go haywire in their presence. Last year, a few months before I was embraced, the La Sombra had joined with the Camarilla, the biggest and most traditional sect in the vampire world. The two groups actually used to fight each other, but our leaders found some intel that made them reconsider their strategy. So they sent a diplomatic mission to parley with their historical enemies. The deal they got in Chicago was simple: an unlife for an unlife. For every La Sombra vampire allowed in the Ivory Tower, one La Sombra vampire has to meet their ultimate end. I still remember the name of the woman who met her final death so I could begin my unlife. Her name was Hester Reed, a sworn enemy of the Camarilla, a guerrilla fighter who spent decades opposing them. She was someone with far better principles than mine, from what I've gathered. Well, whoever she was, her execution by my sire served to convince the New York City elites to give us La Sombra a chance. Then, they set out to look for a mutually agreed-upon candidate who'd become the clan's rep in the city. My sire searched for someone who gave the impression she was more than she appeared. The local court was looking for someone they could walk all over. After long negotiations, they decided I was a good compromise. They proceeded to systematically destroy my entire life, just to make me show I was psychologically strong enough to join the ranks. The turncoat special, they called it. Somehow, I succeeded. And it eventually led me right back to where I started. Sigh. I stopped writing and put my pen down. Will that be all? Yes, Miss Duval. I hope you enjoy your stay in London. Oh, I very much doubt I will. Just like every cultured person, I think the only good Englishman is a dead Englishman. Sorry, Zeph. It's a bit fucking rude. I mean, I get why she says it, but it's still rude. Not interested in small talk with someone as sociopathic as her. I finished the formalities in silence. That will be all. Tell Kadir I said hello, and farewell. Safe travels. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, psycho. Oh well. I'm the lone La Sombra in this town, and my representational role means jack shit. No title, no perks, no whatever. Right now, I'm the court's gopher, doing all sorts of work nobody else will touch. My main duties? Being a sort of immigration officer. See, New York City is probably the biggest vampire travel hub in the USA, and definitely the biggest one on the East Coast. Almost every kindred arriving from Africa and Europe comes through here. The local Camarilla is nuts about bureaucracy and population control. So every vampire leaving or arriving in this town is supposed to check with me to inform me about their travels. Well, in theory at least. The VIPs play by the different rules. They take care of this stuff through connections and servants. But for the smaller fish, I'm like a vampire Statue of Liberty. The first bloodsucker every kindred coming to New York City should see. On paper, anyway. The first after the prince, or Kadir, the Primogen Council. These things vary. Yeah, I'm a naturally traitorous La Sombra, so they still prefer being traditional and hands-on about these things. As I said, at the end of the day, I'm just a gopher. And this work only serves to remind me I'm not quite in, just standing at the gate. They haven't even given me an office. I just meet everyone in public places, such as coffee shops or this fast food restaurant. Some consider this an insult and lash out at me, but luckily, most of them understand we're in the same boat. Only here because we're curs who need to be reminded of our place from time to time. Speaking of, my last client is 15 minutes late, and I still have more errands to run tonight. This is getting irritating. To be honest, I should just find some self-respect and leave. But I won't. My sorry upbringing left me with this stupid sense of responsibility. 10 more minutes pass. Eventually, an unfamiliar woman appears by the door. She tells someone to stand by the door and walks in. Long chestnut hair, body stuck in her late teens by the look of it, a fashionable scarf covering most of her face, elegant clothes, dignified walk. I signal her to sit in front of me, trying my best not to let my impatience show. She obliges. Took your sweet time, huh? One day, and it will be a beautiful day. I will learn how to keep all this bitterness in and stop getting in trouble. Sorry, Miss Sawinski, was it? This is not exactly the kind of place we expected. She's scanning her surroundings like we're at a circus. I hope you won't mind if I make it quick. I'm needed in Elysium. Name? Catherine V's. Huh. I swear I've heard that name before. Someone else's description of her crosses my mind. That weird lady who owns the art hole but is never there? Weird? So it is her. Catherine V's, the owner of the art hole, de facto headquarters of the New York City Camarilla. For fuck's sake, Julia, what are you doing calling her weird right off the bat? God knows you've already made a fool of yourself in front of enough VIPs in this city. Recover. I'm sorry, it's just I still don't know many people there, so I have to go by the descriptions I'm given by members of the Primogen. Well, the description is mostly correct. Outside of that one word that slightly perplexes me. Pot calling the kettle black, sounds like. Oh, from what I gathered, it's just that your interests are rumored to be, not fully aligned with the Camarillas, and it irks some folks up there. Being a keeper of the Elysium is not enough for some, I see. I suspected as much, but what can you do? She seems chill. Good. Anyway, Catherine V's. Wow. Yes. Want me to spell it? People often have trouble getting it right. Forgive my indiscretion. It's just that people of your stature usually don't bother checking in with me. They usually report their arrival to one of the Primogen, and they make all the arrangements. I heard Prince Panard is busy with the preparations for her big party. I assumed that if I spared her some paperwork, she'd appreciate it as a gesture of goodwill. Besides, I wanted to meet the infamous La Sombra representative out of sheer curiosity. My interest piqued once I heard about her. She looks around knowingly. Unique circumstances. Yes, Prince Helene Panard had trouble justifying the exorbitant rent my property would need. That's literally pennies for her. And as far as I know, she's been sitting on an empty property since last year. Looks like they've got it out for you. Bad. That's what I assumed, but it's nice to get a confirmation. Well, it's not like my clan has ever been particularly popular in these parts. At least, that's what I've heard. Sins of the fathers and so on. Yes. Just to make sure, you've never met Hester, but you know of her? I do know I wouldn't be here if not for her. Have you two met? No, I only heard of her once or twice. We had similar outlooks on many issues, although we tended to come up with completely different solutions. In any case, I think it's meaningful that Hester died so that you could live. They feared her. Now they fear you, and that's why they're keeping you down. If anyone who's not a VIP said this to me, I'd laugh in their face. Oh, I get what she's doing. She's trying to buy my favors. Best not to act like I'm easy to please. Stick to business. Time will tell. In the meantime, I'll need you to help me out with my documentation. Of course. So, where are you coming from? Washington, D.C. She says it the way people in Hollywood movies say it. The way that suggests her Washington is wildly different from the Washington you and I would see. What were you doing there? Take a guess. Government work? Write that down. It ought to amuse Helene a little bit. If you say so. Date and hour of arrival? She takes out a plane ticket and slides it towards me. It's all here. 1 a.m. Got it. Method of transit, plane. Purpose of visit? Meeting with Prince ought to work just fine. I guess. Estimated duration of visit? Undefined. Write in 6 months if you really need to. Place of accommodation? Conditions of intended stay? The art hole. Conditions should be adequate. You tell me. I tend to be happy with Airbnb. Home sweet home? I'm not certain that I ever felt particularly at home here. That makes two of us. Curious, do you have nothing holding you here? The face of a blonde-haired friend appears in my mind's eye, then vanishes. There's nothing holding me anywhere. I see. A prolonged silence. She stares into my eyes, and I return the stare. She's studying me. It's unnerving, but I do my best not to turn away. Hang on, what did I miss? Oh, hey, the Madness Mars. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. Eventually, she smiles. Didn't you say you were short on time? Oh God, yes. Kadir will kill me. I quickly begin to collect my stuff from underneath the table. You can simply inform him I paid you a visit. He'll understand, and he'll pass it on to everyone who should be in the know. Do you need anything else? I'm fine. I was about to ask you that myself. You're the one asking questions here. That's all from me. Good. We will see each other soon, I hope. The party tomorrow night? I wasn't invited. She gives me a pitying look. I understand. Well, if not given the opportunity, we should make our own. I'll be in touch. Good night, Ms. V's. I wish you a pleasant stay. Good night. And don't rush these things. You've got your whole life ahead of you, and you're in a position where you can take it easy. Take your time. Get a different perspective. I nod and slowly walk out the door. When I lose sight of the restaurant, I sprint towards the subway. Slow night? I wish. You're late again, by the way. I hope you have a good excuse. Kadir al-Azmai, the mighty sheriff of New York City, is not happy with me. No wonder. I met him in front of Elysium 30 minutes later than the time we had agreed on. Yeah, well, Catherine fucking V's decided to arrive fashionably late. A likely story. She's supposed to be out of the city. If you think of pulling your leg, boss, feel free to check my report. I pass him all the official papers, the way I do every other night. Kadir steers me down for a good few seconds, and then his steely gaze softens. You're serious? V's and McDonald's? Surrounded by the smell of French fries and hamburger patties? That must have been one hell of a sight. Technically, it was BBB, not McDonald's, but yeah. God, I made such a fool of myself. First thing I did, I quoted somebody calling her a weirdo. I wanted to die on the spot. Serves you right, you walking faux pas. I've been trying to teach you to control your tongue, but you never learn. It's a new gaffe every week with you. Still, there's good news and bad news. The good news is Catherine has a fondness for vampires of humble beginnings. Probably why she decided to see you in your, shall we say, natural habitat. She's one of those rich art scene assholes who seek out working class cred. I did say something about watching your tongue. The bad news is she is very astute, so she can recognize a moron like you straight away. You never stood a chance at impressing her. Oh, shut up. You still need me for anything here? I'll get on it straight away. I wouldn't be standing out here chatting with you if I hadn't taken care of my duties. 30 minutes is all it took to finish preparations for the big party. I'm about to see everyone off. Sorry. Couldn't be helped, I suppose. I do not know that, actually, Madness Mars. Let me check my mic settings real quick. I know who you are. But yes, you do know what you're talking about, so. Okay, that makes... How about now? I don't like it. I think maybe I'll just, I think I'll switch mics. Hang on. Thank you both for bringing this to my attention. How about now? Yeah, I don't love it either.
I don't know. I might, dick around in the Streamlabs setting later to see what we can see. I'll probably do another test later to see if I can work it out. Yeah, thank you. I actually haven't used this particular microphone for streaming before, and my audio interface is a goodie but an oldie, and sometimes it doesn't always interface with newer software super duper well. So still kind of working out the kinks with this. But anyway, yeah, this game is actually really, really fun. Most of the VTM games are a good time. But truthfully, I think this one is probably my favorite. Although Coteries of New York is also excellent. Do recommend. All right, let's get back to business. Couldn't be helped, I suppose, and it's more your loss than mine. I just wanted some company tonight, and you could really use the chance to appear here on official duties so everyone can get to know your face. Heaven knows your fast food job isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to, what do they call it, hustle? You don't need to tell me that. But it's not like being paraded around for a bunch of blue-blooded douchebags is. He somehow manages to give me a painful nudge in the back without so much as a hint of visible movement. Language, you fool. They're coming out. Just stand here in silence for 5 minutes and focus on not embarrassing yourself any further, will you? Got it. The first two silhouettes appear in the doorway of the art hole. An old man in a wheelchair pushed forward by his young servant. Haven't seen either of them before. I kinda remember these guys. Mr. Payne, the night is still young. Hope you find the rest of it pleasant. Payne, the wheelchair. I've heard about him. Addison Payne, one of the American Camarilla's main connections to the government and Wall Street. Disabled in quite a few ways, needs a servant to communicate. I'd be full of resentment if I was embraced in this condition, but apparently Payne is nothing but grateful for his immortality. He keeps writing fervent defenses of the traditions and Camarilla customs. No, we'll be a good kid for once and we'll keep our mouth shut. He wordlessly shakes Kadir's hand, but doesn't even deign to acknowledge me. At least his servant gives me a small bow. I return it. They leave. Kadir turns to the next person leaving. High Regent, can't wait to see you in your outfit. Spare me, Sheriff. These fancy dress parties cause me enough suffering without your help. I can only hope you haven't conspired with Helene to embarrass me with this gift. She points to a shrink-wrapped set of clothes she's carrying inside her coat. Kadir smirks briefly. I didn't have to. As well you know, Prince Panard displays a considerable foresight in the matter of party planning. Yes, if there's one thing she's deathly serious about, it's frivolities. A recognizably mortal quality, especially for a prince. We ought to celebrate it, not oppose it. Don't worry, Sheriff. I'm a big girl who knows her etiquette. I will play your game, amuse the crowd a little bit, and return to my study as fast as possible. If I remember correctly, Eiling Sturbridge is a Tremere. Eiling Sturbridge, High Regent of the Chantry of 5 Boroughs, a hero in the Battle of New York, the biggest warlock in town. Could be Prince herself if she didn't have her eyes on a bigger prize. The thing is, nobody knows what that prize is. They only know it has something to do with her goal of thaumaturgical research. Whoever tried to find out what it is failed. Violently. Oh, I'm sure you're going to have fun. Miss Zawinski here has just informed me Catherine V's is back in town. It is safe to assume she will join our festivities. You're kidding me. Her negative reaction intrigues me, so I decide to give her another nudge. She told me to send her regards, and that she absolutely can't wait to catch up. Cheeky. That hint of torment on her face is less than I was counting on, but it will do. V's. Excellent. I'd love to catch up with her. The barely concealed venom in her voice clearly suggests that, in fact, she'd hate to catch up with her. Yes, it looks like tomorrow night will be very special, but for now, I bid you adieu. And she's gone. Is there some kind of story between Eiling and V's that I should be aware of? That part about sending regards, that was a bold-faced lie, wasn't it? An innocent one. Overselling someone's courtesies is just good etiquette. You're unbelievable. Well, I doubt High Regent Sturbridge took it as a courtesy, considering she once attempted to call for a blood hunt on V's. Wow, why? I've heard 5 different versions of the story, and all of them seem plausible. Catherine's relationship with this city is odd, to say the least. But hush for now. He's obviously trying to kill the conversation, and the appearance of Thomas Arturo gives him a perfect way out. Mr. Arturo? Ah, Alasmai, keep up the good work, eh? Of course. Thomas Arturo, an architect by trade. He's a herald, a member of Prince Penard's inner circle, an eccentric, whose thoughts seem to be 10 times faster than his words. Good night, Mr. Arturo. Ah, yes, yes. He disappears into the night. Well, that was brief. Maybe I should stand in their way. That might force them to properly acknowledge my existence. You severely underestimate their dedication to ignoring whelps like you. And just in case you're serious, I beg of you, don't. I've been meaning to ask you this for a while now, but never had the opportunity. You really hate Arturo's guts, don't you? He carefully measures his diplomatic response. I have no strong feelings about Thomas Arturo whatsoever. Yeah, well, considering you're always listing positives about every local Camarilla representative under the moon, you might as well have called him a cunt. Language, whelp. And as for Arturo, I will share my opinion about him as soon as I come up with one that sticks for more than a week. You know, interestingly, I could be misremembering, but I think Kadir is one of the least terrible members of, the New York City High Court of the Camarilla. He's very good at his job, but he's by far and away not the worst of them. A group of kindred emerges from the art hole, rushing towards the street. Only a noble-looking woman stops next to us. She's wearing a hijab, but curiously enough doesn't hide her hair beneath it. Primogen? If you were rude enough to stare, you'd quickly notice the cloth serves mostly to cover up her horrifying scars. Kadir. Oh, and young Julia. I'm doing my best not to stare, because Samira is one of the few New York City Camarilla figures who hasn't been an asshole to me yet. Still here? Did the prince require the Clan of the Hunt's counsel in some matter? Yes. I advised her that no matter how hard she tries, she shouldn't expect me to wear a different costume tomorrow night. She's the Banu Hakim Primogen. Just like the Lasombra, their clan was independent from the Camarilla until relatively recently. However, they negotiated a better deal than we did. They have a Primogen, for one. Hailing from the Middle East, the Banu Hakim are drawn to the practice of justice. The rules must be upheld and every transgression punished. They don't have much say in New York City, but the prince often seeks their judgment. It's just good PR. I hope she was understanding. Those are beautiful clothes. Thank you so much. I am eager to see the outfit you came up with. And how are you, Julia? Have you seen any lights at the end of the tunnel? Same old, Samira. Still wandering in the dark, bumping my shin every 2 steps. Sorry to hear that. I trust you're pestering the prince and your superiors to improve your standing. It's a process. Oh, Julia, you won't achieve anything if you don't keep reaching for it. Kadir, weren't you supposed to teach her the ropes? I'm trying to, Primogen, but with this child, it's always a process. I can only wish you good luck, then. Good night, Julia. Good night, Kadir. Good night. Have a safe trip. The artle has to be almost empty by now. You like her, don't you? Stop with your class clown act, whelp. It only serves to reveal deep insecurities. Wow, that's harsh. It's factual. Were I as harsh as you claim? She did tell us both to call her Samira, but you're still keeping your distance with that Primogen shit. Watch your profanity! And don't project your fantasies onto me. I won't give you a lesson about professional boundaries, but I suspect the way you will eventually learn it will be extremely unpleasant. Am I interrupting something, good folks? Even though I'm constantly pestering him, Kadir's composure is unshaken. His response comes swift and unfazed. Not at all, Mr. Van der Weyden. Heading back to your office? You know me, my dear sheriff. Where else would I go? Now that's curious. Even though Carter Van der Weyden is a Primogen as well. Malkavian, to be precise. I don't hear Kadir address him as such. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Oh, I will absolutely show up, provided I can. But just in case, I already apologized for not making it to the prince, simply drowning in work these days. The rhythms, tempo, and intonation patterns of his voice are so familiar. Half of it sounds like JFK, the other half exactly like Barack Obama. Just like his appearance, it all feels so fake. He's old money, of course. Comes from a long line of Dutch merchants who originally settled in the New York region, runs a wildly successful law office, rubs elbows with elites of both kindred and kind varieties alike. He seems perfect in every way, and that's why he's so unnerving. He's a child of Malkav and must be blighted with some affliction. But whatever it is, he doesn't let it show. Hard not to wonder what he's hiding. The celebrations are planned to last all week. Surely you will find the time. I pray I will, my good man. I pray I will. In case you need to reach me, you know where to find me. Have a good one! He doesn't even register my presence before leaving. Sometimes I think they're all still hoping I will simply go away. As Carter drives away in his limousine, Kadir shakes his head. You wanted to hear about which member of New York City's Camarilla I dislike the most? Yes. He shoots me a knowing glance and smirks. Too bad. They're all my dear colleagues, and I deeply respect every single one of them. Sure you do. Wouldn't want to blurt out something that could lock you under Mr. Van der Weyden's legal services, would you, you ass-kisser? I do expect to find myself in need of a good defense attorney when my broke, incompetent, and foul-mouthed assistant finally pushes me over the edge. Rude. Do you still need me here? I still need to swing by St. Patrick's tonight. Don't worry, we're almost done. The prince is coming out. The captain is the last person to leave the ship, huh? And there she is, Helene Pennard. The big kahuna, as someone I once knew would call her. The de facto ruler of New York City and a self-professed patron of the arts. Kadir, a penny for your thoughts. You should be pleased to hear the High Regent is resigned to her fate, my prince. Mr. Van der Weyden is decidedly not. I suspect he will be too busy to join the festivities all the week through. Excellent. She turns to me. Miss Sawinski, weren't you supposed to accompany our good sheriff in his duties tonight? There was an unexpected change of plans. Catherine V's is back in the city. Catherine is here. Now that's a welcome surprise. But what does it have to do with you, Miss Sawinski? She said she didn't want to trouble you with all the paperwork regarding her arrival, Prince Penard. It's all been taken care of. Kadir has already been informed of everything. That's certainly a nice gesture, but wait a minute now. Where exactly did you meet her? In a fast food restaurant, my prince. I see. Helene rubs her eyes. Catherine and her love for proletarian amusement. I suppose it will be a source of amusing anecdotes this week. If we want to avoid these situations in the future, it might be a good time to discuss offering Miss Sawinski an office of her own. We'll get to it eventually. There are more pressing matters at hand. The festivities start tomorrow, and there's still so much to be done. Will you make sure the art hall is secure before leaving? Certainly, my prince. Have a good night. Good night, Kadir. Good night, Miss Sawinski. We'll talk about your work soon. Don't worry. Of course. Good night, Prince Penard. A chauffeur escorts her to a limo. There's an awkward silence between me and Kadir until the car disappears around the corner. More pressing matters, huh? Penny for your thoughts, Sheriff? I'm certain an image of the keeper of the Elysium stuck in a fast food restaurant will linger in Prince Penard's mind. You're far closer to your goal than you were a few minutes ago. I'm pretty sure I've heard you say something to that effect a few times now. And I stand by my words. Rome wasn't built in a day, Julia. As a Camarilla loyalist, don't you think it sucks that the Ivory Tower is so hell-bent on showing disrespect to my clan, they're actually willing to make fools of themselves in the process? We've all had to endure our own hazing rituals. But yes, the current situation is not ideal. Whatever. You need a hand closing up the Elysium? I'll manage. It's getting late. Better run. Some shadow in Chicago is probably impatient to get a copy of the reports you've given me. You've pleased one master. Now it's time to please the other. Yeah, here's the thing about working for two masters. Neither of them really thinks of you as their own. Not knowing how to reply, Kadir shrugs. I wave to him goodbye and head for the subway. When I reach St. Patrick's Cathedral, I'm greeted by a voice that grates on me like teeth on tinfoil. Oh, that's a horrible sensation to envision. Oh. Well, the prodigal daughter returns. Oh my God, no. This is the one thing I didn't want to happen. Julia, please, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Uh-huh. Where's Father Leonard? His clergy duties kept him from getting here on time. He sent me to apologize in his name and keep you company for a few minutes. That's the second thing he ought to apologize for. He just wants his flock to live in unity. I am more than willing to oblige him. Why won't you? For the last time, I'm not a part of his flock. We have a purely professional arrangement. I know you see it that way. The Knight clan's tendency to stick close to the Catholic Church is their greatest virtue, but they still consider this relationship purely instrumental. I remember thinking that was one of the most interesting parts about the history of the Lasambre clan, is that they were just very, very Catholic. This is why we need kindred like you to bring the spiritual change to your clan, to make them understand God's precious gifts. The closer they'd get to the light, the greater their shadows would become. Again with his insufferable sermonizing. Benoit Segal here is a local nutjob and an ex-artist, a degenerate who had some sort of complete mental breakdown in the 90s. To recover, he took to religion for solace and guidance. Yeah, Zeph, they are a pretty, originally they were a pretty antagonistic clan. As I recall, they were part of the anarchists as opposed to being part of the Camarilla, and being a Honestly, being a very gifted and fairly powerful clan, they made a lot of trouble for the Camarilla. But I think that it makes more sense to think of them as antagonistic only if you consider the Camarilla to be the good guys. And they're not. They're just the establishment, you know? At first, he proclaimed his readiness to devote the rest of his own life to studying Nautism. After a few years, though, he changed his mind and joined the Catholic Church instead. I think that has something to do with Cain. Let's have a look. Ah, yes, the religious beliefs and studies pertaining to the origins of kindred and the myth of Cain, the allegedly OG vampire. As luck would have it, his neonate zeal found a major target in me. When I first met him, I was stupid enough to tell him I was raised Catholic and still identified as such, somewhat. He immediately pictured me as some sort of force for change within the Camarilla and set out to put me back on the righteous path. Now, he won't stop preaching to me, apparently, until I become a nun. Remember, the darkest place is directly beneath the candle. You turncoats have this unfortunate predisposition to find salvation right within your grasp, then lose your way in the shadows. Christ. Once he starts, he just won't stop. I guess it's time to bring up the big guns. By the way, I was meaning to ask, got any news about Sophie Langley? A painful grimace crosses his face, but doesn't linger. Kind of rude to change the subject, you know. Rude? I'm just looking for a topic both sides of this conversation would care about. You know, like any guide in etiquette says you should. Salvation is a topic close to anyone's heart, whether they admit it or not, and it's pretty bold of you to assume I still care about Langley. I do not assume. I'm certain you do. The second she retires from the public eye, you stop acting like Jesus era Kanye and start acting like Jesus is King era Kanye. Coincidence? I've never had a Jesus era. Do people really call it that? I mean, kind of. Here's how it's gonna work. Tell me what you know, I'll tell you what they say. And keep in mind, I didn't know she was your sire until a few nights ago. Hell, I haven't even met her. He winces a bit at me saying, hell, but lets it go. Sure, I figure you would have prodded that wound long ago if you knew, but what do you care anyway? Better to let you drone on about your tormented past than to let you carry on with your good missionary shtick. Professional curiosity. Once a journalist, always a journalist. He scratches his head, then exhales in a sad mockery of a chuckle. Fine then, I'll do my best to make it short. Just like you said, Sophie Langley, every New York kindred's beloved socialite, was my sire. We first met sometime after World War II. I left France right before the Nazis went around the Maginot Line. I struggled to keep my siblings alive with my art. Watched my brother die during the flu epidemic of '43. I was close to losing my mind. That's when she showed up. Said the sheer torment in my works caught her eye. She became my patron, allowed my talents to flourish, and supported me financially. Eventually, she embraced me. As a well-off kindred, my artistic interests started to naturally deviate from what they used to be back when I was a poor mortal upstart. I began to see the world the way her social circle does. And that she couldn't forgive. Instead of being a fun novelty, I became just another part of the malaise surrounding her. She grew distant and then stopped seeing me altogether. I had my share of meltdowns because of this, I won't deny that. I locked myself out of many career opportunities. But it was an important lesson. Don't trust your elders. Vampirism affects them psychologically as well. If they take interest in you, they won't stop until they suck your soul dry and then discard you like a broken toy. For the first time since I've known him, Segal registers to me as something other than a Bible-thumping nuisance. Is it compassion I feel? Do I find him relatable? How dreadful. It's possible he's strategically trying to elicit sympathy. Maybe he heard about my dramatic exit from Lodestar. Or maybe he's just alluding to the way my sire left me here to fend for myself. It is only God who will never lead you astray. That is why I find your act so frustrating, Julia. You're so close to getting it, but you choose sin instead. There's the Benite Segal I know. Almost had me fooled. Let's get back on track. What about Langley's disappearance from the city? Her path was a road to perdition. Wherever she ended up, I doubt she's too happy about it. She had plans for the future of this city, wanted to make it her ultimate artwork. She was always the vain one. And of course, you are completely sure you have nothing to do with her disappearance? Please don't tell me you're getting at what I think you're getting at. Everybody says you've been acting like you're trying to repent for something ever since her vanishing act, and you've got a motive. Of course I'm getting at what you think I'm getting at. Benoit shakes his head. You really have the devil in your heart, Julia, always testing me. Just asking what everyone's thinking. Are they now? Listen, I'm familiar with a lot of the insults attached to my name in this city. Those aren't exactly compatible with the image of a ruthless killer. Killer, huh? Now that's interesting. I haven't said anything about killing. He scrubs his hand over his forehead and collects himself before responding. Stop picking apart every word I say in this completely unpleasant way. Here's a statement if you really want one, Miss Hercule Poirot. I do believe Sophie, the way I knew her, has met her end. Even if she's still walking this earth, she wouldn't come back here as the same prideful aristocrat. She'd have to undergo a spiritual rebirth. Someone has reminded her of her place. Her former friends talk of her in hushed voices. Even that servant Plateway of her went missing. No more Camarilla parties. She's done for. Whatever happened to her, I don't know. I swear on Jesus and his sandals, I had nothing to do with it. But yes, I'm still here, and she's not. And it's not a reason to gloat, but to be more humble. I received a sign from God telling me to re-examine all the unfortunate ways I still resemble Sophie Langley. And I listened. I rejected the pride I felt or shared with her. I renewed my vows to God, recommitted to preaching his greatness. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place. Right now, when I think of Langley's influence on my life, I'm grateful because she was a sign that got me here. And if God wills it, maybe one day you'll look at her the same way, Julia. Mental note. Whenever he circles back to this preachy tone, it's time to intervene. All right. If it makes you feel any better, I think that the only way a wimp like you could have heard her was by boring her to death with Bible quotes. Now then, quid pro quo, tit for tat, you were saying people still talk about me. I was curious if... Oh, look who's finally here. Stalling for time worked. Father Leonard rushes in our direction, carrying a folder of documents under his arm. I assume it's the one I came here for. Father Leonard? Christ be praised, Julia. Yesterday I was told this is how priests greet their parishioners in Eastern Europe? Forever and ever, amen. Actually, I think we said each other's lines. Never mind. Another long night? Isn't it taking a toll on you? No need to worry. These days, I sleep a few hours a day, short naps take care of the rest. And there's always work to be done. I apologize for being late. At least I managed to get here before you and Benoit went for each other's throats. Good, I was getting worried. Oh, who do you take me for, Father? He takes you for a total bozo who's about as effective at converting people as the documentary about pedophilia and the Catholic Church. He's just too kind to say it out loud. Ouch. Hear what I have to deal with, Father? But don't worry, we'll make a saint of her yet. Forget saint. For now, I'd settle for an adult in the room. Oof. Ouch. that what you were here for? I've been patient with that role, but by now, you kids should be moving out, not leaving crayon marks on the walls and throwing food around anytime Daddy's not looking. Right? The sickest of burns. So let's just focus on our grown-up duties, shall we, Julia? Here. He gives me a folder he was carrying with him, and I pass him the reports I wrote earlier tonight. Among kindred, it is common knowledge that the Catholic Church is one of La Sombra's greatest assets. Hell, it might even be the main reasons the Camarilla is slowly warming up to the clan. We are technologically impaired, and as such, woefully unprepared to face the challenges of communicating in the 21st century. Hard to handle advanced encryption when you can't even unlock a smartphone. It's like the La Sombras are basically the boomers of the vampire world. Oh, man. This is where the Vatican connections enter the picture. A web of priests scattered all around the world exchange our dispatches between each other, making sure they all reach their destinations in total secrecy. I was told not everyone in the Holy See is friendly to our kind, but the most shrewd and talented usually are. Right? God. Weirdly, that's something I think about a lot, about how, like, if you're a vampire, how does facial recognition work? I wonder how airport security works for them, but I digress. You could say they're like a mortal Camarilla, better than any intelligence agency. Remember what happened to John Paul I when he attempted to uncover the workings of the Institute for the Works of Religion? Death after 33 days of papacy, rumors of CIA and Masonic involvement. Not that Father Leonard has anything to do with any of this. You're a Catholic priest, he's all right. Probably made me stay a believer a few years longer than I did had I known him as a teenager. Leonard is intelligent, kind, helpful towards his parishioners, treats his superiors with a healthy dose of skepticism, and is not involved in any sort of political church games. Well, at least not beyond helping me contact my bosses in Chicago every other night or so. He knows about the kindred and he knows about the Second Inquisition. He opted to avoid the latter in order to keep the former from oppression, because according to him, it's the right thing to do. I know there's got to be something wrong with him, some selfish motivation maybe, and I haven't nailed it down yet, but it doesn't feel like he's making an effort to hide it, so I'm giving him a pass. By the way, I hope you don't mind. I finally took the liberty of asking how your parents are doing. Thank you, Father, but you shouldn't have. Not a problem. A priest at St. Stanislaus Kostka is a good friend. He says your parents started showing up every Sunday again. Front rows. Your father is looking better and better. It makes me feel nothing, but I still give him a token nod and a grateful smile. Thank you, Father Leonard. Now, if you'll excuse me, the sunrise is almost here. Yes, be careful, and God bless you. Amen. Goodbye, Julia. I'll let you off the hook this time, but next time you won't be so lucky, all right? Sure. Just one more thing on my never-ending list of events I'm not looking forward to. Guess it's time to call it a night. I'm home. Finally. You doing all right? Fine, I guess. Why aren't you asleep? I figured it's finally time for me to become more of a night owl. We've talked about making our schedules sync better. Watch your vitamin D. I'd kill to have your skin. Would be ashamed to waste it. Shouldn't have smoked so much before you got bitten, sweetheart. Should have shared your skincare routine back with me when I was still breathing. I can't just be going around sharing my one secret weapon. It's top secret stuff, MK Ultra level, Jeffrey Epstein's current whereabouts level. I'd have to kill you if I told you. Fair. My kind also has a secret anti-aging weapon after all, but hey, if you don't care about that, and what would that be? Adrenochrome? What the fuck is adrenochrome? Someone look that up for me. Close. Spirit cooking. Just so we're clear, you're shitting me, right? Of course I'm shitting you. We just drink blood. Nothing too satanic about that. Funny, because whenever I see your chest, I'm surprised there's no cross-shaped burn mark there. Well, since you mention it, never mind. I feel a little more self-conscious than usual tonight. Don't. You want me to do your makeup before you go to sleep? No need. No need? Weren't you supposed to have some sort of big party tomorrow night? I was involved in the backstage stuff. What makes you think I was invited? Because you're the coolest, cutest, and most all-around amazing person I know. They'd be insane not to put you on the short list. Believe it or not, but most vampires are pretty insane. Yeah, they are. Especially the Malkavians. Interdimensional psychic vampire level insane, because that's how crazy they'd have to be to ignore you like this. Yeah, I would say so. Fuck them then. A big bunch of posh dicks. They hate you because they ain't you, but they'll see. Oh, okay. That makes a weird amount of sense, Seth. Thanks. Jesus, how do you do it? Do what? You always assault me with so much of this weird, stupid positivity that I can't react to it without completely shifting my mental attitude. How do you do it? Well, the answer is easy. You remember how I told you we have this spiritual connection? I can sense what you feel and want. You can sense what I feel too if you really focus. Yeah, I think I called it a big load of bullshit. Said a girl who talks to ghosts. But watch this, Agent Scully. I sensed you feeling down and realized what you really need to end this night. She points to one of her drawers. It's the one where she keeps her supply of ketamine? Come on. What? No, wrong drawer. We're not meeting demons. We're meeting angels. MDMA? Ding, ding, ding. Took it half an hour ago. Perfect timing thanks to our spiritual connection. Ready to fly away? The mood isn't right. I need music. Got a special. SoundCloud playlist ready to go, prepared specifically to uplift one Julia Sawinski. Just give me a sign and I'll press play. Jesus, you're impossible. That's why you love me, I hope. I give up. Come here. Let me have a taste of you. Maybe this one time, the high won't end. Right. Now we rest. I leave Dakota's apartment as soon as the sun goes down. Yesterday was fun, but I always feel a little nervous when I spend too much time with her. She never lets me escape from being the center of attention. It's exhausting. At least the less time I spend with her, the happier she is to see me again. It's a tricky act to balance, though. I'm grateful for her presence in my life, but never mind. What's on my list of chores tonight? Ah, yes, only one thing. Don't show up for the party at the art hole. Well, this is the rare night when I don't have anything to do. Might as well take a trip around the city and see what's up. And maybe fix myself a little drink while I'm at it. Let's go take a walk in the park. Van Cortlandt Park. Funny, I never knew how much I could miss nature until I got stuck in this urban jungle for good. The sight of familiar green surroundings slowly floods my mind with disjointed images, back from when I just moved to New York City and was still in awe of it. I'll reminisce a little bit. I close my eyes, allowing myself to drown in the stream of memories. An elderly couple holding their frail hands in the warmth of the morning sun. An evening gathering of self-important academics fervently discussing the discoveries no one but them cares about. A bunch of kids chasing an imaginary treasure, joyful, restless, and oblivious to the dangers of the summer's heat wave. A young, perfectly chiseled jogger running along the golf course, 100% graceful in every move he makes. Mesmerizing. My eyes snap open, and the spinning kaleidoscope of images fades away. I collect my focus and remember what brought me here. A burning heat reaches my fingers. I flick the butt away and immediately take another cigarette out of the pack before proceeding through the parade ground. The faint sound of shoes tapping against the concrete interrupts my contemplative mood. Just what I was hoping for. I hurriedly finish my smoke and take a step back, blending in with the shadows. A lonely jogger runs in and out of the pale lamplight, completely lost in his thoughts. All dressed up in the top-shelf sportswear, wiry muscles clearly visible under the skin-tight outfit. Sounds very sexy, if you ask me. And his exposed neck. I get the urge back under control for now. Back when I was alive, I'd rely on the breathe in, breathe out exercise. However, nowadays, breathing costs a premium. Yeah, so in the actual tabletop game, you have to spend blood points to appear human. So you to make your skin, look flushed and healthy the way like a normal healthy humans would, to mimic breathing, all that costs blood points. And of course, to uphold the masquerade, you have to appear as human as possible at all times. There's some interesting stuff in Requiem that made you look really, really monstrous. I know, right? Such a pain in the neck. Yeah, it's not very nice, I don't think. Honestly, the thought of never being able to see sunlight and having to drink people's blood for the rest of, hundreds of years, maybe even thousands, depending on who you happen to be. Yeah, big time ick. No thanks. Just as I regain my composure. Yeah, I think your friends are a little bit silly. Mars, to be honest. Maybe ask them the hard questions, are you prepared to potentially kill a human being every night for the rest of your life? Are you prepared to never be able to see another sunrise? Or have to cost yourself energy to do things like just look human in public? Are you prepared to be immortal? Are you prepared to live longer than everybody you know? Hard pass. And Godspeed, honestly. Just as I regain my composure, the jogger stops by the flickering lantern and takes a glance at his smartphone. His body tenses noticeably as he answers a call. Moving in on him right now would, of course, inevitably involve the caller hearing the assault happen. No reason to make things complicated. I'll take my time. Cautiously get closer and closer until I can finally overhear his words. Should I expect the bad news? I know, but Jesus, Tasha, he's 9. He struggles and fails to sound calm. No, she doesn't know yet. I'll tell her when I get home. I need to think this through. I notice a lanyard half stuck into a pocket with the Bronx Times logo slapped on it. They say there's no cure. Yeah, I heard something about experimental treatments in Rochester, but I can't make this decision on my own. I connect the dots, realize what he's talking about, and feel like I was punched straight in the guts. Listen, I need to clear my head. Tell Jonah I need a couple of days off. If he starts throwing a fit again, tell him he better learn to write the fucking column on his own. Thanks, Tasha. Yes, I'll give him a kiss from his auntie. The moment he hangs up, his composure goes out the window. He basically stumbles to the nearest bench. God damn it. His faint sobbing stops me in my tracks. I lose my appetite. Feeding on this guy would feel nauseating anyway. Just when I convince myself that I should let basic decency take the reins, he notices me creeping around. He gives me a startled glance, eyes damp, looking absolutely miserable. Busted. So what do you say to a guy you were just about to assault at a dog park but thought better of it? I just wanted to say, it's gonna be all right. He looks at me. His gaze is kind, but tired and empty. Look, I appreciate your intentions, but do you really believe that? I weigh my words. No, I don't. Then why would you say that? Who do you think you are? You have no fucking idea what I'm going through. He gets more and more aggravated with every word. I cut him off. How can you be so sure? That snaps him back into focus. You're right. I can't know exactly what you're feeling. I'm no mind reader, but it's clear that we have something in common. We both got fucked over with no say in the matter. He turns away and stays silent. Glad he didn't ask about how I got fucked over. Not exactly the same caliber of suffering. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, I got tired of hearing it too. It never gets fine unless you work your ass off. Even then, things get bearable, maybe, if you're lucky. Your son has multiple sclerosis, yeah? He doesn't deserve it, but that's reality being its usual fucked up self. Imagine how afraid he must be. Your fear is infinitely more beatable, so you need to pull yourself together. Lead him by example. The guy peers at me with unease, but I notice a tiny spark of confidence kindling in his eye. Unless there's some sort of miracle, there's nothing I can do to help my boy. Bullshit. You still have time to just be together. Make it into the best life he never had. Giving people advice I myself wouldn't be able to listen to. Hell yeah, classic me. Well, guessing what people want or need to hear was an essential skill back at Lodestar. Anyway, that's all from me. You're right, I've overstepped my boundaries, but I wish both of you the best of luck. Sincerely. Have a good night. I notice a change in his melancholic face. He stands up with his back straight, like he has regained some of his lost resolve. He nods and starts running straight back to his problems. I start walking in the opposite direction. Even though I might regret this show of abstinence later, what little remains of my humanity inside my shriveled heart encourages me to think that letting this guy go was the right thing to do. I'll need a change of scenery to break out of this mood, and an opportunity to actually get some juice into my veins, relatively guilt-free if possible. Guess that's enough human interaction for one night. Once more to Big Beat Burger, until the last fast food joint I'll ever know. I'll have the usual. You know, I wonder if she has the eat food merits. Like, does she just order food and, like, not touch it? Or does she actually eat the food? I don't think we ever really get clarification on that. The first time I used this line, I wasn't sure it would work, but I've gained enough notoriety among the staff that it does. The cashier just smiles, nods, and charges me for one black coffee. I can imagine them instructing the newbies. See that emo weirdo? Here's how it is. She orders a single cup of coffee. Nothing else. And she doesn't even drink it. Okay, yeah, she doesn't drink it. Probably wouldn't take a single sip even if I was still alive. This stuff is just trash. But at least being a buying customer gives me an excuse to sit here for as long as I want to. I wish I could use one of those self-order kiosks to minimize human contact, but touchscreens don't exactly like me. Not too long ago, I managed to blue screen 10 of them in a row. Oh well, the good news is it doesn't look like I have anything to do tonight. The bad news, it's because every kindred who matters is having fun at the art hole right now. It's not like I wanted to go. I just wanted them to invite me so that I could tell them to fuck off. Oh girl, you know you wanted to be at that party. Get the fuck out of here. I scan the entrance to the restaurant through my peripheral vision. Am I naively hoping someone will come and save me? From misery? Yes, I am. Please, please, please let somebody come and get me out of here. A prince, a princess, a knight in shining armor, a fairy godmother, a passing huntsman, Big Bad Wolf, Mia Jovovich, Vin Diesel, Azealia Banks. Hell, I'll take anyone at this point. Visualizing, tapping into the power of my subconscious, materializing my dreams. Nope, doesn't work. Looks like you're eternally stuck being a nobody in the corner of a shitty restaurant, sweet little Julia. Unlife's a bitch, and then you don't even die. I pretend to read a book about psychoanalysis I stole from Dakota for a while. Having found it too mentally taxing, I switched to pretending to read a Stephen King book, which I also stole from Dakota. After the terrifying realization that it was written in the last 15 years, and therefore contains no amusing drugged-out rants about troubled childhood in Maine, I switched to looking back at the entrance. That party must be so stuffy and trashy and boring. At this point, I'm no longer looking for salvation. I'm looking for amusement. But it doesn't come. All I get is boring bozos in normcore clothes. They walk in, take care of their business without doing anything to amuse me, and walk out. A few minutes later, after I lose all hope, a tall, elegant man marches in with a spring in his step. Ooh, who is this? He looks around, impatient, irritated. Then he notices the person he was looking for and reacts with visible relief. He gallantly approaches my table, looks at me, and says, "There you are." Now that's curious. He shouldn't be here. Careful, everyone. Big Bad Wolf is here. He will huff, and he will puff, and he will blow our house in. Why are you stalking me, Wolf? I'll have you know I'm not falling for the grandma disguise ever again. My dumb attempt at self-amusement doesn't faze him at all. He doesn't even roll his eyes, just stares at me blankly. Grab your stuff and get in my car, now. His tone leaves no room for doubt. Something bad has happened. I want to ask what, but whenever he's in his "I will simply ignore all the dumb shit you say" mode, I know better than to ask questions. Instead, I silently follow him to the exit. He guides me to his car. I just hope I haven't messed anything up. Again, I don't think I have, but have I? Kadir's car. As usual, he gives me the back seat. He's always uneasy when the passenger seat is taken. Doesn't want anyone to limit his peripheral vision, he says. Normally, I'd catch him observing me in the rearview mirror, but this time he's watching the streets, more tense than usual. Something must have caught him off guard. I've got my seatbelt on and my popcorn ready. What's up? The awkward silence feels like it will last forever. Eventually, he finds the right words and speaks up. 6 weeks ago, the prince told me to parley with the anarchs in the docks, remember? Yeah, and you made me tag along so that I could learn something about politics. As it turns out, politics meant something awfully similar to watching my drunken family shout at each other at a wedding party. There was this man who didn't need to shout to make my blood boil. The meanest one in the room, their leader. White hair, a monocle, musty clothes. I don't really want to say a racial slur out loud, so I'm going to skip that. Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, how could I forget? A lot of panache, old-timey bravado, and gendered insults flung my way. What was his name? Something British, made me think of Hollywood. Callahan? Baron Callahan. Douglas Boss Callahan. Right. It's 2020, but the man's opinions and ideas were stuck in 1920. Weren't the anarchs supposed to be the progressive option? I never understood why they put up with him. He has his ways of predicting which way the wind will blow. Anytime Camarilla or the SI hit the anarchs, it was the factions opposed to him that were hurt. The luckiest bastard in the world. I mean, right? Scrooge McDuck wasn't even that bad. Thought you didn't believe in luck. I don't, but it sure looks like his luck has finally run out tonight. Huh. Wait, don't tell me. The Anarchs got rid of him? An evil grin. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know the specifics, but I do know he's gone. Wow, gone as in he's dead? Like deader than dead? I'm 99% sure the bastard met his final death. How do you know? We've got trustworthy sources in the Anarch inner circles. Looks like all hell is about to break loose. There's an emergency meeting at the art hall. Jesus, and you're bringing me with you? Why? Because you were on the way. Because I could. Because I should. You might not be important to the members of the court, but you're still an asset to the sect. Symbolically, at least. I can justify sneaking you into the party claiming it's for your own protection. An unexpected alliance between Big Bad Wolf and poor little Red Riding Hood. Wait a minute, though. The party is still happening? I called the prince, told her the best course of action is stopping it, and started listing security protocols I have prepared for these sorts of situations. She interrupted me halfway through and told me we will discuss the subject face to face. Doesn't sound like she was interested. The party is that important, huh? Politics. Politics is that important. I don't know if he's trying to convince me or himself. And once again, politics sound an awful lot like a bunch of party-loving assholes shouting at each other. Don't worry. This isn't the kind of, how should I call it, governing issue the likes of you and I tend to deal with. And how would you describe the governing issues we tend to deal with? Shoveling ourselves out of shit. As usual, he seems a little embarrassed for cussing, or for being too honest. Either way, it's cute. No argument here. And that's where the conversation ends. We stay silent as the car rides off toward the unknown. I'm not a New York City baron. The Baron of New York City, if you please. Once more, a memory of an old douchebag who thought he could rule the world crosses my mind. Well, it looks like the world has left him behind. Sayonara, asshole. And here I am, at the only place I didn't expect to visit tonight, the art hole. Guessing by the sounds, the inside seems lively. Even if they don't know it's an emergency, they simply don't care. What are you standing around for? You still need an invitation. No idea. Do I? I think the bouncer will let you in. There's a bouncer? Yes, and he's standing right in front of you. Just start walking, whelp. And here I am, among partying elites. It's as stuffy and boring as I expected, but hey, at least it's exclusive. The title Pennard came up with for these yearly gatherings is called Celebrations of Power, an invitation to re-examine the relationship between our undead bodies and the spaces they inhabit. The week-long event is packaged as a sort of performance art piece, meant to make the kindred who are involved celebrate their potential instead of despairing at their monstrous nature. We need to counter-program the omnipresent images of tragic vampirism with images that remind us we have inherited the earth and are now free to remake it in our image, is the way our prince puts it. To this end, he organizes a series of exhibits, concerts, fireworks, parties, business meetings, etc., etc. Of course, the parties and business meetings are the most important. My prince, Kadir, finally. A saint with angelic wings, a holy patron of New York City. I take a good look around. Half of the figures here are dressed like they're attending a masked ball. The other half are religious figures, either demonic or saintly. I have to admit, I don't fully understand the theme here. I know Penard based it on psychomagic, a sort of shamanic psychotherapy using the power of art. Simply put, it's a holy mass and unholy mass in equal measures, a set of rituals meant to make the participants wholeheartedly accept they're both the worst and the best this earth has to offer. Put on this mask at the very least. You're standing out. Here. I heard the aesthetic basis for these parties is the black mass in the film Eyes Wide Shut. Some think this decision means Penard is tone deaf, but it's quite the contrary. She knows the anarchs are constantly looking for ways to undermine her through art and rhetoric that point out glaring contradictions in her theoretically benevolent rule. But instead of denying and suppressing aesthetics designed to criticize the elites, she embraces them. Instead of risking a Streisand effect, she effectively defangs the opposition. The resistance becomes a part of the system, and both the Camarilla and the anarchs get the same message. Don't think of it as a pathology. Think of it as the new normal. I'll collect the key advisors. They've already been told to come here. I don't think there's a need for us to hold the meeting in a particularly secluded place. We'll just do it over there. Are you certain? Absolutely. Wait, is that Miss Sawinski I see behind you? Just gonna let the man cook. I nudged Kadir to take over. I collected her on my way here, because of her role as a La Sombra representative. Just say political hostage. You people have made it perfectly clear what's going to happen with my parents back in Chicago if I go against you. I realized she might become a target and decided to hide her at the art hole. Putting all my eggs in one basket will make my job easier. I will look for a safe place for her to spend the night. Let her stay with you for now, Al-Azmai. Time is of the essence. I didn't notice him sneak up on us. Nice getup. Are you absolutely sure? But of course. Everything we say here is going to become an open secret in a matter of minutes. Prince Bernard has already come up with the appropriate messaging. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot an elderly vampire guiding a young, fashionable human girl toward the basement, led like a lamb to the slaughter. Best not to think too deeply about what's going on underneath this place. Before everyone gets here, I'd like to secure the perimeter. Easy now, Al-Azmai. All of the appropriate security protocols for you are already active. Me and the prince have already pulled some strings as well. The situation is mostly under control. Mostly under control, never let anyone sleep any easier. Al-Azmai, I know that as the prince's sword, you're aching for blood, but you have to accept that, like most weapons known to men, you're most effective hidden in the sheath. Listen here now. Looks like a fascinating philosophical discussion in the making, but sadly, I'm forced to interrupt. Prince Penard? All of a sudden, Samira appears between the two men, her calm and collected voice completely changing the atmosphere, as expected for a self-professed protector of the peace. Samira, I hope you're enjoying yourself. To be quite honest, I feel out of place. She nods and smiles at me, probably to signal she takes solace in not being the only person in the room who feels like a fish out of water. Especially now, seeing as I heard this meeting is meant for those of greater stature than mine. Nonsense. We have a delicate matter to discuss, one that might require severe judgment down the road. I think you understand why I wished for a child of Hakim to be involved. Of course. What is with that expression on your face, Kadir? He quickly collects himself. Kadir has major resting bitch face. Or, like, not resting bitch face. Billboard face. There we go. Look who's joining us. The High Regent of the Chantry of 5 Boroughs, Lady Eiling. Lady Eiling Sturbridge walks up to her group in an outfit I would never have imagined her in, pretending everything is par for the course. Oh my god! I forgot that she wears that. Prince Penard, the Sheriff, the Harpy, the Banu Hakim Primogen. Are we still waiting for someone? He's almost here. Shining even more brightly than usual, Eileen. I adore your outfit, Samira. Wish the prince allowed the same amount of effort for me. I, for one, am glad she didn't. I particularly love those horns. Thank you for reminding me. I put them on at the prince's behest, but I believe she's had more than enough fun. No, not yet. Well, this will do for now. But you're not off the hook yet. I paid a costly price to see you like this. Both Kadir's and the prince's voices are strained whenever they attempt humor. Their minds are obviously elsewhere, and it's not a happy place. Arturo, on the other hand, seems calm. We all celebrate our power in different ways, I suppose. Now, what is this about? Just a moment. Over here, Addison. The Camarilla's infamous spokesman approaches, pushed towards us in a wheelchair by his servant. Helene, everyone, I certainly hope this is something important. What a commanding tone. His servant relays his words to us instead, as he can't communicate normally, and he's posh and snobby enough to make me believe I'm listening to his master's voice. Carter won't be joining us? He gave me fair warning he might not make it tonight. I've messaged him the details. I'll have to find time to meet him later then. Finding time, searching for lost time, I swear that's all I do nowadays, and there's never enough. I guess now you understand why I insisted that this event must last all week. So many esteemed guests, many of them from out of town, each deserving at least a few hours. The figure in the wheelchair waves his hand impatiently. Yes, let's just cut to the chase now, shall we? That might be the wisest course of action. My prince? Arturo. My prince, everyone, let me begin by stressing these important points. The situation is largely under control, the negotiations are underway, and the situation is more tense than dangerous. We are safe. Let me repeat, we are safe. And with that out of the way, here's the big news. Baron Callahan, de facto leader of Anarchs in New York City, met his final death in his office tonight. How did you find out? We have a good friend near his office. Their intel is as accurate as it gets. We've also established a negotiation channel with the Anarchs. They gave us all the confirmation we needed. Was our court involved in his destruction? I look at her in disbelief. So does everyone else. Not that the same thought hasn't passed through my head, but to simply exclaim it like that. Oh, spare me the virtue signaling. I thought we were being transparent here. I don't give a damn if we took care of Callahan or not. I just want to have a clear idea of what we're dealing with. Yes, a clear answer. I need that too. Well, it is a little bit past 9, everyone, so I am going to go ahead and wrap up here, and perhaps we will have we'll have more of the goods from this particular scene next time. In the meantime, I will be hosting the Sunday brunch on Sundays from 4:30 p.m. to around 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and Sundays will be for cozy games. So if you like things like Lemon Cake and Stardew Valley and stuff like that, hopefully you'll join me on Sunday. And of course, on Mondays, the horror Spooktacular will continue. I may take some time off around the new year just to have a rest, but in the meantime, yeah, Sundays and Mondays. So see you soon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Have a lovely night.